Shabbat Shalom, saints. Shabbat Shalom. Let me get a good sound check, quick sound check here. How am I coming in? All right, low audio. Okay, I'm going to try to speak up here. I know the system's changed on us, but I'm going to try to do my best. Thank you, Brother Mike. All right. Okay, thank you, Brother Charles. Another 10. All right, very good. Hallelujah. Well, saints, I thank y'all for those of you that are listening here. I pray the Father speak through this vessel. Again, Shabbat Shalom, saints. I pray you all enjoyed the word of Yah that came forth through Pastor today. I sure did. What a great analogy, what a great breakdown of who the Father is, His righteousness. Even the Torah portion was just a beautiful blessing to my soul. You know, I praise Yahweh for those of you obedient ones. I oftentimes take the time to call the diligent ones, the obedient ones, that pray for Yahweh's servants. You know, we elders, we're servants. We're here to facilitate and allow the Father's kingdom to in fact be established among His people. That is my sole desire. There is this desire among us. It's a shared desire with the Father to see the evil among us to in fact be gone. And you see it all through the writings, the law, the prophets. You see how such evil was eradicated from the camp, from Yahweh's presence. Anyways, I do thank those of you diligent ones that not only pray for us Yahweh's servants, but most importantly pray, but also give to the work of the Father's kingdom here. And lastly, I do want to praise the Father for those of you that walk by faith, not by sight. When Abraham was told to leave, he left. He heard Yahweh's voice and took that step-by-step movement forward, progressed so much further in the walk with the Father, only by faith and not by sight, by believing the Master's voice, just kept pressing forward. And so I praise Yahweh for those of you that have come this far in life by faith and not by sight. So do not be fearful of what's happening in our day and age. There's a lot of casualties going on, saints, both in Israel as well as in, of course, in the wicked. The wicked is being judged day in and day out. But we, the righteous, we need to preserve our souls blameless in Yahweh. So keep that in mind. I thank the Father for giving me a chance to be here ministering to you, Yahweh's portion. I really do thank the Father for this privilege. So I thank Pastor, I thank the servants who have helped me along the way, giving me this opportunity to in fact bring forth Yahweh's word today. This word that's about to go out, saints, it's not mine. if there's anything shared, it is definitely inspired by the Word. I do have to share that. So, His Word, His Spirit, His laws, His counsel, His zeal, and His wisdom is what has brought me out of desolation into His spiritual truth and safety. So, one of the biggest things to understand is Yahweh's ways, Yahweh's law, Yahweh Himself is absolute. You know, there are certain things that we need to have completely as a foundation, and the fact is Yahweh is absolute. There is no turning to the right or to the left with Him. He is straight and narrow. There is no broad way with Him. Today's message is going to address, as I've titled here, Number the Days. Number the days. Alright? As I stated, Yahweh is absolute. The reason I share these things is because Yahweh is absolute. His laws were given as those parameters to keep you safe, to keep you enriched in Him. Understand that even good and evil are absolutes. Okay? A lot of times we don't understand these basic principles, and that's why a lot of us have not been careful in numbering our days. You know, when you read the book of Psalms, especially Psalm 39, as David shares, I mean, before we go there, I want to go to Hazum, Revelation 22, verses 11 through 16. You know what it says? It says, "He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still." See, this is all a mindset. You know, coming to the Father itself is a mindset. It is a choice, as we read in Devarim. You know, what will you choose this day? Will you choose blessing, or will you choose the path of curses? He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. He which is filthy, let him be filthy still. He that is righteous, let him be righteous still. In all of this, there is a serious sacrifice. He that is being unjust, he has chosen that particular day and that particular season of his life to, in fact, be unjust still. Same thing with the one that is being filthy. All right, Pastor touched on who is a whore, who is a whoremonger. What is the judgment allotted to these characters? And then he goes on to say, "He that is righteous, let him be righteous still. He that is holy, let him be holy still." What is that? Being set apart from this world, coming out of this world, not to be part of this world. You are in this world. Number your days. Understand, as it says in verse 12, "And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me." Yes, Yahshua is coming. Father Himself, the kingdom of Yahweh that is within us is in fact going to be established. My reward is with me to give every man according as his work shall be. So this is why it's so critical for us to take heed. It's very certain, it's very clear, it is very evident that we live in an upside America. It's a land, first of all, that was unjustly taken from the natives. Then you gotta see how this country. Now, I have to speak about this country. If we do not understand the land we're treading on, we will continue to waste our time. This nation, this wicked nation, has been programmed from the very beginning to steal time. Now I want to go into a little bit about us valuing time. We don't have much time that's given to us. The Father has given us a few decades, few good years to really cultivate, because He is coming for the harvest. He is coming back with a reward. And based on the work that we have done, we will be justly rewarded. If we continue to be unrighteous, if we continue to choose the path, the unholy ways, if we're not willing to eradicate the evil that is constantly longing to brew in us, understand from previous teachings, we know what is stated about the man, his heart, how deceitfully wicked it is. He goes on to say in verse 13, I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. We have to understand the Master. We have to understand our teacher. We have to understand the Spirit that He has put on us for us to stay in spirit and in truth. It is not for us to depart back to the vomit, depart to religion, depart to the ways of America, depart to the city mentality, depart back to the hustle and bustle, depart back to wickedness. We have left all that behind, just like Abraham did. Left that mindset. Well, of course, we understand, we brethren, we have to go into the city to work. We have to go to these certain population centers to toil. We have to understand that basic concept. Now, I'm trying to speak to those of us that understand that we're in this world. We have only so much time that's given to us. Therefore, it is very important for us to number the days. We have to value this. We have to understand. Just today, as Pastor brought forth the preaching and the teaching, that day needs to be numbered. That the value has to be accounted for. He is worthy of the labor. My pastor is worthy. He toiled. He served us something to eat today. It needs to be rejoiced over. It needs to be taken carefully, taken much heed, not for granted. Like as he stated, who out there will break it down like this? Who? Therefore, we need to be people that carefully number our days. My biggest, something that really resonates in my spirit is valuing. What value are you in the kingdom of Yah? As this investor, the Most High Holy Father is coming back with a reward. He is coming back to reward the good and the evil. He's going to reprimand the evil. Therefore, how careful we need to be as a people. And that's what today's message is. I know in the past I have in fact brought similar teaching, similar message, but what the Father really wants me to emphasize today, even the more so, is taking the time to understand what season you're in. Because the season that you're in, you have to give all of yourself to the Father. If it is a season to weep, weep. If it's a season to laugh, laugh. If it's a season to, in fact, sow, sow. Because in doing so, you will learn a lot in that period of your life. Number the days. Blessed are they that do his commandments, verse 14, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. Now that's an absolute statement. Alright, here goes the next verse. Another absolute statement. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loves and makes a lie. You know, the biggest thing that we need to understand, we need to come to grips with, is that Father, you know, is your time with the Father. When you are spending the time with the Father, one of the biggest things that need to be taken carefully, needs to be considered, is, am I in denial? Am I wasting my time? Who am I giving my time to? Am I giving my time to a fool? Am I giving my time to a wise man? Am I spending my time with a wise man, or am I spending my time with a mocker? Am I spending my time? Who am I spending my time with? So these are the things that need to be really taken to consideration. Here's another, let me finish that. I think, one thing. Okay, one more verse. It says, I, Yeshua, the Master, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and the morning star. So here is Yeshua ending what he has to say through through John. Now I'm going to go to Wisdom book in the Apocrypha, chapter 14, verse 12. We're going to touch on two verses there. Chapter 14, Wisdom of Solomon, verse 12, it says, for the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. See, one of the main things that we need to understand is, as we read all these verses, we have to keep in mind that time is invested into all of this. All of these things, there is precious time that you cannot redeem. Once the hours have been spent, once the years are past, it cannot be redeemed. It's already spent. The years forward needs to be taken into account. So, from the very beginning of time, you clearly see what happened in the Garden of Eden. You see what happened. There was a choice that was made. Adam and Eve, Hawa, they gave their time toward looking at the tree that they were told to abstain from. They gave their day. That don't know how long she contemplated. No telling how long this woman that was given to Adam was contemplating. Man, I got to go check out that tree. I got to go check out that tree. What is that tree all about? Why was it told to me to stay away from that tree? You know, this contemplation, this period of contemplation. She may have given, Yahweh knows, a good significant part of her life toward that, until there came a time where she acted upon those thoughts that was introduced into her. And then came the stumbling block. Then he went in that direction of disobedience. So here we go. There is an idolizing that's happening. This is exactly what we just got done reading in Hazum 22. This is what we as Yahweh's people need to be very careful about. Not to be accounted with idolaters. Not to put another brother, another sister above Yahweh. You are serving them unto the Father. As you serve the Father, that is in that mode of thought process is how you're serving that brother and that sister. So that is the concept that we need to grab hold of. Now you read verse 27. And this author, he takes it to the next level. Verse 27, it says, "For the worshiping of idols, not to be named, is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil." So, in order to eradicate evil, idolatry must cease. That's why it says, "For the worshiping of idols, not to be named, is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil." So, what does Jacob need to return back to? How can he redeem this time that he has lost? In a spiritual way, you can in fact redeem lost time. But in a carnal way, all the years that you spent, all the stupid and foolish things that you've done. I mean, in this upside down America, this entertainment-driven world, this, it's sad. I'm going to digress here a little bit, but it all fits in. I have seen men that were over 40 years old acting like dumb teenagers, dumb young men who have not at all, do have no regard for the time that's given to them. That's an utter shame right there, because here he is, this man is progressing into a senior age and an age of maturity, but he has not gotten to that point of maturity. He has just wasted his time. He has given no value. No value. This is the type of country we live in, a country that has dumbed down their education system to facilitate with it. They use Hispanics, they use minorities as reason. But I don't believe that is the reason. I believe they are dumbing down the people. They're dumbing down the people so the people will remain docile, will not respond, will not be a responsive people, will in fact be reactive people. People who react are people who don't care about the days that Yahweh has given them. But people who are responsive, they have in fact, I have to respond to the situation a little bit more carefully now before I cannot redeem myself. I cannot save myself. In this wicked age, we have full of traps. We are surrounded with deception. That's the nation we live in. We live in Europa. Well, this is no different than Europe. We live in modern Rome, as Pastor has mentioned many times before. So how do we eradicate this evil in our lives? As Yahshua says, seek ye first. Seek ye first. Seek ye first. There's something that needs to be sought out. The Father needs to be sought out. In all your doings, is it glorifying the Father? Are we seeking the Father? Because He will order our steps. He will. I'm encouraged to know that. The psalmist David mentions that in his songs, in his writings. He states how the steps will be in fact ordered. Listen to what he has to say in Psalm 39. It was a very encouraging read, saints. If you have a chance, turn to Tehillim 39. So he says, I said, I will take heed to my ways. that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle while the wicked is before me. It's just like this analogy Pastor brought forth, on the Shabbat day, heading to the hospital to pray for a particular brother. You see a vehicle that you recognize to belong to a particular brother. You pull over, you take your belt off, and you beat the crap out of him, only for him to call assault on you. But here you go. This is a perfect time to be cognizant, to be aware. Oh, okay, this is the context I'm in. I'm living in this wicked America where I have to be careful when I'm before the wicked. When you go to your workplace, number your days. Oftentimes I tell a particular brother that I work with, there will come a time when the beast system is fully launched, where you have no choice, but it's going to be enforced. There's going to be many things that's going to be enforced in this country. Oftentimes I think about these lazy Americans who do not want to work. I work at a distribution center, and the turnover ratio over there is unbelievable. I mean, they can't keep full-timers, they can't keep temps. I mean, they can't, and they're going the expensive route. This company is going the expensive route and bringing in employees from other distribution centers. And I just think about this culture that we live in. I mean, there is no culture. This is the most basest culture in the entire world. True. I come from the Indian ethnic background, but I do believe that there is a lot of Hebrew background in the way I was reared. For Apostle Thomas to, in fact, go to South India and minister to these people, there had to have been some kind of Hebrew origin. Nevertheless, coming back to what I'm saying is this, saints, we have to pull away from American thought. We have to pull away. We have to understand. We have to understand. We have to be aware. We have to be aware, but not immersed into this pop culture or whatever they want to call it. I mean, what I don't understand. What does this country have to brag about? I mean, when I heard, and I mentioned this in the last show, when I heard Afghani people wanting to come to this country only to party, I mean, that's like, seriously, man? Let me have a word with you. Come here, let's step to the side here. And I would get him into my office. I said, sit down, brother, just sit down. Let me talk. Let me help you understand. Let me help you understand the American way of life. It's nothing but a waste. All my 20-some years of working in this secular world, I have understood one thing. These people literally live paycheck to paycheck. They have no savings in their mind. I mean, you go and look at the statistics. How much Americans are really programmed to save? Here you got the people in China, Republic of China, the government encouraging the people to invest in gold and invest in silver. Same thing with the subcontinent of India. Same thing. Hey, take some time and you may want to invest into gold and silver because all them governments are doing it. Here the shady government is doing all these things, heaping to themselves, like FEMA, for example, heaping to themselves all these things in mountain places, yet leaving the people absolutely destitute. The other day I was watching the footage of that happened during the period of Katrina. And I just to see how the rich just have all these um, have all these avenues where they can escape, but the poor are left. They're left. Just to hear testimonies of dead bodies on streets, and is that not third world country? And here's a country that's boasting to be the superpower, but yet cannot understand the importance of levees. Yet, this is blatant. This is blatant. And America, wake up! There are more horrible times coming this way. Katrina was nothing. Sandy Hook's nothing. All these 9/11, that's nothing. They want to see people. They want to see mayhem in this country, so they can sell off more. They can just give away the lands. Oh yeah, with China, we owe you all this money. Why don't you just take the northeast corner or the southeast corner of the United States to be your sovereign cities? Oh yeah, of course. When that is going, say that hypothetically, I'm speaking now. Say that in fact becomes reality. What is going to happen to these lazy ass Americans who don't want to work? I'm just helping us understand how much even more of a proactive people we need to be. We have to number our days. We have to take into account the time, the little bit of time that's given to us. We need to be loving toward one another. We need to be merciful. Just earlier I was talking to Teacher Shane, how much of a long-suffering people we need to be. Yet, at the same time, we need to be careful those that take advantage of long-suffering, of mercy, because that's clear. Read up in this country, taking Yahweh's long-suffering for granted, taking His blood for granted, taking His atonement for granted, taking His mercy for granted, taking His day-to-day goodness for granted. That's automatically conditioned in Americanism. Those that went to school here, those that have been reared in these dumbed down schools. It's conditioned. Entertainment conditions you to into that way of thought process. So here, David is saying, when I'm before the wicked, I'm going to learn how to keep my mouth shut. Because these wicked are waiting. As the Apocrypha says, they're injurious. You have to understand how injurious. I had a sergeant. I'm going to give you a little bit more perspective example. I had a sergeant. He was a subordinate to me. I was his officer, and this guy, early on in our mission, he was like super cooperative. He wanted to do everything. He wanted to cater. He wanted to carry my bags. He said, "Hey, Sergeant, that's all right. I got this." But then he went into a state of emotional crisis, if you may, because you know how men too are walking by emotions these days. It's not just women. It's not just women who are the weaker vessel. It is turned out to be the man too has taken the office of being a weaker vessel. That's the country we live in. That's the programming and the conditioning of America. It's caused the man to, in fact, become. So this guy, long story short, this guy goes into emotional crisis, and then he nitpicks what I say, and then he becomes injurious. He turns into somebody he goes from somebody who was totally cooperative, even wanted to learn the Hebrew way, even watched several messages of Pastor doing our pre-mob trainings, and then turns out to be somebody who is so anti-Yahweh, but he loves the Christian God. But he becomes he receives the anti-Messiah spirit, and he turns on me, he turns on everything that he believed for a small season, everything that he believed to in fact be true. He now believes it to be falsehood. Verse 2 says, I was dumb with silence. I held my peace even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. My heart was hot within me. While I was musing, the fire burned. Then spake I with my tongue, Yahweh, make me to know mine end. How many of us take the time to understand, take this into perspective? This is a common thing that I speak in the household. You know, and a lot of times when we see the enemy ramps up his attack when you go into this mode. Understand, when you gear up this way, you are going to face more opposition. You are going to face a lot more attacks from the enemy. So when you take such steps, when you pray such prayers, understand the enemy is patiently waiting. The tempter, the doubt causer, I mean, he's waiting. He's patiently waiting to cause you to stumble. He's patiently waiting for you to forget. Forget the measurement of your days. No, you don't have to take this into account, man. You got plenty of time. Why don't you just doodle away? It's no big deal. You got plenty of time. You know, America is not going anywhere. Yeah, America is not going. Where are you going? America may not go anywhere, but where are you going? Understand, the world that you live in is not for the righteous. It is to vex the righteous. It is to cause the righteous to be faint-hearted. It is to cause, it is no different than the Pharaoh days. Yeah, the demise of kingdoms will be up and down. America may just kind of, right now they're heading in the direction of oil boom. America is. America in the next few years is going to pass Saudi Arabia in oil production. So we can't sit here and say, well, America is going to be doomed and this, that, and the other. Forget America. What are you doing? What are we doing? How are we numbering the days? Here is David, a man who rose to this position of authority because he was careful of his days. When he was a shepherd attending to the sheep of Jesse, he valued his time. He may not have been a soldier, but he was a shepherd. He understood what it means to care. He understood what it means to be compassionate. He understood what it means to go after the devourer. He understood what it means to eradicate threat. He didn't need to be a soldier. But in all his times of waiting, in all his times of patiently waiting and singing songs to the Father, Yahweh anointed him with some strength. And here is that man of strength asking the Father, Yahweh, make me to know mine end and the measure of my days, what it is, that I may know how frail I am. Here is a man that knows that his life is likened to a blade of grass. Here is a man that knows that, Yahweh, you've given me such and such time. Here he goes, look at what he says in verse 5. Behold, thou hast made my days as an handbreadth. Handbreadth. And mine age is as nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best state is altogether vanity. Is this any different than what his son wrote? So, saints, what I'm bringing to the forefront here is not to be vain. Not be very careful. Be very careful that we become not vain in our thought process. To be very, very careful in the arrangement of our thoughts, being very careful in accounting the time that Yahweh has given us. Because, as I say in real estate, because I meddle with real estate too, and it says, time is money. Time is wealth. So, how careful are we in allotting our time? Because Father has only given us so much time. How careful are we at counting the cost? Because walking this Hebrew way, saints, the Hebrew way, Yahshua, the simplicity of Yahshua is very clear. Yet understand that walking in this way, very, very costly decisions need to be made. And it's not so much costly if you're walking by the Spirit, but if you're walking by the flesh, you're going to say, "Whoa, I gave up this and this, I gave up that and that." But let me tell you something. If you are a man that do not compromise, much will be, a whole lot more will be given back to you. Yahweh is a Yahweh that causes your enemies to come back on bended knees and say, "Here, take it. Here, you can have this and that." What they stack and what they gather, it will be for the righteous. That is one thing that we need to be very, very aware of, saints. It says in verse 6, "Surely every man walks in a vain show." Surely every man walks in a vain show. Oftentimes I wonder, surely David is not talking about the heathen here. He has to be talking about the Hebrew people. Because you know how we are as a people, and oftentimes I've said this, we're a very, very forgetful people. We're a very forgetful people. We could enjoy Yahweh's goodness. Say we enjoyed Yahweh's goodness last year, but we will so quickly we forget. So quickly we forget, and we turn into complainers and murmurers. So quickly we forget. The workplace that you're in could be 100 times worse. So quickly we forget. We cried unto Yahweh, and Yahweh gave us a way out. But now the way out has become grievous. The way out has become troublesome somehow, some way. Surely every man walks in a vain show. Is this any different than what this wicked nation programs its people to do? I mean, yeah, go on. Wear the bling bling, using the money that you don't have. Drive what you can afford. I mean, isn't this what this country is all about? Isn't vain show? Surely, then he goes on to say, surely they are disquieted in vain. He heaps up riches and knows not who shall gather them. Exactly. David is clearly saying that these people don't even know who this is all going to go to. Yahweh is a Yahweh that gives you permission to take the spoils of the wicked when that time comes. That's the type of Yahweh we have. We have laws, as Pastor was addressing very clearly. These laws are to benefit Yahweh's people, His portion, as well as Yahweh. Everything that we do is unto the Father, is for His glory. That's why a lot of times I'm I harp on this. Your manners, your behavior, your habits, it has to glorify the Father. That's why I'm heavy on communication. We need to communicate. If we are the body of Yeshua, if we are in fact the body, let's not contradict ourselves. Let's hold ourselves accountable one to another. Doesn't mean you need to share intimate details. What is intimate details? I mean, I believe we are in an age that everything needs to be spelled out. The other day I was telling I mean, you know, we all come from different generations. And the generation that is coming behind me is a generation that needs to be told exactly what needs to be done. You know? Because if not, they will waste their days. Okay, son, this is what I need you to do. Okay, do you copy that? Copy. All right. Are you sure that's a good copy now? Because, you know, understand that everything is in a mode of decreasing. Everything is on the decline. You know, I remember all the counsels, all the advice, and all the all the help that my earthly father used to give me. I mean, my dad, he should be in the office of a lecturer. This guy, I tell you what, my dad would lecture me, man. He would lecture me so much to the point where I would be, my mind would have left the room. My mind leaves the room and is gone somewhere else. And what it is that he would go into such a depth that I would lose my mind. I would lose my focus, I should say. So, but I do thank the Father for having such an earthly father, because, like I've said in the past in my previous shows, here's a man who used to read the Torah, who used to read. I mean, I've said this on the shows before. He's a man who used to say, never tattoo yourself, never do this, never do that. I mean, he was pretty much reiterating the laws that he was reading in the Torah. But unfortunately, again, same thing. This official religion of this world is Christianity. There are other official religions, but Christianity is a religion that's officiated. So there we go. If we're not careful, we will not take heed to the days that the Father has given us. So coming back to what David is saying, surely every man walks in a vain show. Surely they are disquieted in vain. He heaps up riches and knows not who shall gather them. And now, Yahweh, what wait I for? My hope is in you. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Make me not the reproach of the foolish. You know, oftentimes, I would hear my dad say, growing up, he would say, you know, don't be a foolish son. So if you are, in fact, if you do foolish stuff, you are bringing, you are bringing the Most High shame. And then I often wonder where he got that from. He's getting it from the Word. When we act stupidly, when we act in a foolish manner, when we act in a manner that is not careful, we're no good examples. We bring Yahweh shame, especially if you are one that goes to work and preaches. Especially if you're one that strictly has in your mind, well, I'm going to go to my workplace and I'm going to just just open up to this guy, and I'm just going to throw all the stuff I know, all these things that I have learned, I'm just going to dump it on him. And guess what? He has a pair of ears, and he may not have spiritual ears, but he has carnal ears, and he just heard you out. Only to understand, early on in the show I said, these people are injurious people. You just cast pearls before swine. Now this swine is going to carefully wait to injure you. And he will. That's what the unrighteous are programmed to do. They have spirits that work in them to see your destruction, because Yahweh has chosen you to be in this path. So therefore, as David has said early on in the psalm, we need to be very careful. Son, do not do this. Hold your tongue. Be like unto Yosef. Be careful. Be careful what comes out of your mouth. Here you go. It says in verse 8, deliver me from all my transgressions. Make me not the reproach of the foolish. I was dumb. I opened not my mouth, because thou didst it. Therefore he is crying out to the Father. It says verse 10, remove thy stroke away from me. I am consumed by the blow of thine hand. You know, I hear this prayer. I hear what David has to say. And you understand that David is writing this during a period of freedom. As I stated in a couple shows ago, I stated, saints, the difference between David's period and our period, the difference between when the laws were given and where we are at is too different. We are in captivity. We have to strive to keep Yahweh's laws. These saints mentioned, even David is crying out during a time, during a period of his life where he had the freedom. He didn't have to dodge this and dodge that and cry out to the fathers like, deliver me from the Egyptians. So why am I saying that? The reason I'm saying that is because those of us that are in captivity, some of us are deeper in this captivity than others. Can we be sovereign? That's for another show. We, as I said, I was sharing with a brother, we have to occupy hard. We got to occupy hard till he comes. What does that mean? That means we need to be the most shrewd steward. We need to be the most cunning investor alive. Because Yahweh is coming back with a reward to reward us for the good that we have done. So in other words, I'm saying, I have to say this, and I've said this previous times. If you see a brother and you see a sister struggling and have a need, and it's within your powers to help them, you have to help them. That's the Torah way. In this captivity that we're in, we are trying our level best to help one another get out of captivity, to be wise in this captivity, to use their laws. They're using. I'm addressing America here. I'm addressing the laws that they follow. You know, the rich uses their laws, the loopholes in the laws to advance. Therefore, we need to know the laws. We need to know when to speak, when not to speak, how to navigate the laws. I'm not trying to say to break the laws. We're trying to navigate our way. You know, the other day we heard of a black woman, a woman that supposedly hung herself. When I heard that, the first thing that came to my mind, especially myself who have spent years, a good few years in behavioral health, mental health, the world of psychology, the world of counseling. I've spent a good amount of time in there. I have yet to hear black people killing themselves like that. If there is anybody that's suicidal, is white folks. It's not black folks. So when I heard that, it's like, wow, what a setup. What a setup. Obviously, this guy who booked her was trying to cover his tracks. When she stood up, that officer did not like it. Obviously, it was a white officer. Did not like the fact that she had stood and resisted his unrighteous authority. So, what I'm saying, saints, is that we have to be careful. In the land that we live in, we have to understand the land we live in itself, the laws are injurious to Yahweh's people. There's random stops and all these, as Pastor mentioned in the Shabbat service here. I mean, they don't care. They're trying to get into your pocket. They're trying to get the very little that you earn. They're trying to even sweep away that. That's the type of injurious land we live in. Yes, they say it's a land of opportunity and all this, that, and the other, but you have to be extremely, that's why I'm encouraging us to be a people that's shrewd, that is wise, that is crafty. That's what it says, to be innocent like a dove, but cunning as a serpent. A serpent knows when to come out or when to stay in. He knows. So there we go. This chapter that we're just reading right now, this episode that David is trying to unveil on us is speaking just that. He's speaking about wisdom. He understands the context he's in. Listen to what he says. Verse 11. When thou with rebukes dost correct man for iniquity, thou makest his beauty to consume away like a moth. Surely every man is vanity. Why? Why is David saying that? Of course, rebuke corrects man for iniquity, right? Because we know Yahweh's rebuke is health. Is health. And here we are in America where, hey, tell me what I want to hear. All these preachers and teachers, so-called motivational speakers, they ain't correcting the people. They are not correcting the people. They are leaving the people to continue in their vain show, continue in their paths of vanity. They're not bringing forth help. They're not bringing forth restoration. They're not bringing forth proper order. They're not bringing forth proper perspective. They're in fact holding people bondage. So, listen to what it says in verse 12. Hear my prayer, O Yahweh, and give ear unto my cry. Hold not thy peace at my tears, for I am a stranger with thee, and a sojourner, as all my fathers were. O spare me, that I may recover strength, before I go hence and be no more. So, saints, we don't have much time. The very little time that the Father has blessed us with, we need to be very, very cognizant. We need to be very conscious. We need to consider the time that Father has given us. Are we using the time to build up one another? Are we using the time to encourage one another? Are we using the time to encourage and say, rejoice, brother, cheer up, this too shall pass? Are we doing that? Are we in the mode to receive correction? And I need to bring that into into the message here, oftentimes we've become a people growing up, in this part of the world. We dodge correction. We don't want to be corrected. If we have the pastors and the elders, we have fathers and we have mothers correcting. We want to go in the opposite direction. And we're so quick to say, oh, thank you. We're so quick to say sorry, but we don't understand the value of these words. We're so quick to saying, oh, thank you for correcting me. Well, what did that correction do to you? What fruit will this correction bring? I mean, that's the kind of mannerism that we have adopted because of this ingraining that we've had in this country. It's a quick sorry. It's a quick thank you. Everything's so quick. The words are just quick and cheap and just, like we talk about it being a microwave generation. It's like quick thank you, quick sorry, quick. Everything is so thrown out there and it does not bring forth life. It brings forth more self-gratification. It's almost, this is the mannerism of some people. I'm so sorry. Get out of my way. Let me go do what I want to do. This is the attitude of what is being. This is what's taught in this country. Oftentimes, I come from the culture where oftentimes if you went to somebody and took the time to sincerely, we say in the native tongue we say shema. We take the time to shema choidikam, means take the time to ask for forgiveness. I mean, it was a long, drawn out time of forgiveness. I mean, because when you really truly, and this is what the word often says, where is the fruit? Where is the fruit? Okay, now you say you've repented. And that is what we have to really chew on in this captivity, saints. If we need to number our days, we need to value repentance. We need to walk repentantly. Because, let me tell you, it's far and few between where I really truly see saints even having a desire to repent. When I pay close attention to the saints that, what irks me the most is when pastor is done teaching and preaching, I see saints just running off. It's like, where are you going? Do you even have a desire to get on bended knees and cry out to the Father? See, this is why I say, we don't understand repentance. We don't understand what it is. In the East, what we do, this is my upbringing. We go, the man or the brother that we have sinned against, we go and touch their leg. We stoop down, touch their leg, and we ask them for forgiveness. In other words, that is where redemption is found. Redemption is found with your face in the ground. In order for us to really value and take into consideration what you have done, what you have not done, you got to get on bended knees. You got to fall down. And it's sad because this is a generation that forsakes. They forsake. They hesitate. They restrain themselves. They resist falling down. We sing, humble thyself. Yahweh was doing the lifting. But no, I ain't going to humble myself. I am already lifted. I don't need any more lifting. I'm way up there. I don't need any more. This is a mannerism. This is the attitude of the day and age that we live in today. That's why I'm saying this generation that's coming behind us, they need to be told. But it's sad because you can't force saints to do this and the other, because Yahweh has given us a will, and He's longing for us to transform. He's longing for us to renew our minds. So, saints, the emphasis of the message is to number the days. Know where you came from. Know what you did in the past, and have a zeal. Have a zeal for who we are as a people, as we sang today during the service, during the Shabbat service here, during our gathering. We sang, we are Hebrews. Taking into careful consideration the time that the Father has in fact given us. Understand that this country is programmed to cater to your flesh. That's all America is doing. America is going to be gladiator towns. It's going to be a town where not too long ago they made a movie. It's Elysium is the title of the movie. And watching the movie, I clearly understood this is where the world is going. The rich are going to be so far apart from the poor. And we the poor in the world standard, but are rich in Yahweh, have to really carefully understand that we're not going to be trodden down by the rich. Even now. Yahshua didn't come and do all what He did, atone for our sins, for us to continue to be the tail. So, in this captivity that we're in, how much more should we be crying out? We just read David crying out to the Father, especially verse 10. He says, remove thy stroke away from me. I'm consumed by the blow of thine hand. Surely, each and every one of us can testify to the fact how we are experiencing the blows of this life. In this day and age, in this country that love taxing people, okay? Clearly, this is a country that is constantly, every time we step foot out there, the wicked are out to get the righteous. The wicked are out to get into the little monies that the Father has, in fact, bestowed on us, take that and use it for their gain. The other day I was speaking in the lunchroom. I was, the heathen can attest to this. I mean, especially here in the country, the city folk will revolt against this statement that I shared with them. I said, you know what's funny? You all trust the banks more than you all trust one another. It's like, yeah, that's good. That's a good statement. That makes sense. Yeah, we do. We do trust the banks more. So the heathen has the sense to understand that. Do we have the sense to understand that we in fact trust the system of this world more than we trust one another? It's high time, saints, to number the days. It's high time for us to be humble. It's high time for us to humble ourselves. Humble ourselves to one another. What does it mean to humble ourselves to the Father? Exactly. Humbling ourselves to one another. That's what it means. Not trying to usurp, not trying to jump on top of your brother's head because you know something more than he does. Remember what David just mentioned in Psalm 39. Vain show. It's all a vain show. He ain't speaking to the heathens. He's speaking to the Hebrew people. He's speaking about the Hebrew people. We need to cut out this vain show, and we need to understand, hey, we the body of Yeshua, don't have much time. The little cells, the little ones that are coming behind us, we need to leave a great testimony for them, for their edification. So when we have lived the holy way and gone on to the Father, they can spend their years and their days talking about the goodness of the Father that was shown to Yahweh's people. Hallelujah. Bless His holy name, saints. I'm going to take a quick water break, and I shall be back soon.
Shalom, this is Sister Wenda. I hope that all of you are enjoying this particular broadcast that you're listening to right now. We really appreciate each and every last one of you, our faithful listeners and supporters of the Straitway Truth radio broadcast. We try to make sure we do our best to ensure that you have the best broadcast as well as the truth coming to you in the hour that we're living in right now. If you'd like to help us in this endeavor, your offering will be greatly appreciated in the work of the ministry of the Most High Yah. Our mailing address for your gift, offering, or letter of support is Pastor Charles Dowell, Jr. That's Pastor Charles Dowell, Jr., 632 Highway 52, Bypass West. That's 632 Highway 52, Bypass West, PMB number 1, Lafayette, Tennessee. And Lafayette is spelled Lafayette, Tennessee, 37083. If you would like to contact us by way of phone, the country code is 1, area code 615-688-3025. You may leave a message there, and be the Father's will, we will do whatever we can to return your message. It is our hope and our prayer that as you continue to listen to the Straitway Truth Ministry, and as you apply the teachings of this ministry, that you are finding peace and growth within you, your family, and life as well. And do please tell others so that the truth may also have an impact and touch others' lives, so that they may enjoy the benefits of the truth of Jesus Christ, just like we all are. Shalom, the King is coming.
Hallelujah, saints. Hallelujah. Bless His holy name. I thank the Father for giving me this opportunity to speak to Israel. As the brother was saying earlier, I believe it was Brother Steve, do encourage more saints to jump on the broadcast. And those of us that don't have the liberty to hear the broadcast, if there's any, as Apostle Shaul says, if there's anything that can be talked amongst us, talk what's true, talk what's honest, talk what's just, talk what is of good report. What are good reports? Let's talk about it. Let me address what is good report. Exactly what Pastor preached. That's a good report. You ain't going to hear that if you go to Joel Osteen's motivational church. You ain't going to hear that in T.D. Snake's congregation. You're not going to hear that in Rod Parsley's congregation. You might hear tidbits of holiness or trying to make Yahweh's word or the word that was given to the Hebrews their message. But that's the watered down nonsense that's going on out there. So what am I encouraging here? I'm encouraging those of us saints that are able to hear the broadcast to in fact speak about Yahweh's word coming through His servants. Speak about it. Talk about it. Learn. Because these are the words that's pertinent for this day and age. I do not encourage all these other stuff going on, squabbles and unnecessary talk. Again, as I mentioned earlier, vain show, nonsense, trying to do Bible studies and all this. I do not encourage that. What I do encourage is go into the old archives, put on pastor's teachings and his preachings from years past. Put on Elder Donnie's show. Put on Teacher Shane's show. Put on Elder Becker's show. Put on the shows and listen to it like a cow, just constantly regurgitating. That's what's got to be going on in Israel, because we need foundation. Do not believe that we have that solid foundation. We still need even the more so. The cement, the concrete's got to set. And that's what's got to happen in all our lives. We need to do this iron sharpening iron by going back to the broadcast, and in those of us that miss it, converse about it. The chance and the time that the Father gives us, the years and the days and the weeks and the months that the Father gives us, these are the things that needs to be brought to the forefront. How else will we be on one sheet of music? How else will we be of one spirit and one mind? Just like Pastor called out this moron's name today. What was his name? Mike Mariko or something like that. I mean, you got these people defaming Yahweh's servants. And these people need to be brought to the forefront. I mean, like I mentioned early on in the show, I mean, we've come to a time and day and age where words have lost meaning. Words have lost utter meaning, because there is no judgment that is executed. You know, there really isn't. You know, it would be interesting if we lived in a day and age where you got a traffic ticket for saying something dumb and foolish. I mean, imagine living in a day and age where what did you say? I'm going to write a ticket. I'm going to book you for that. There might just become, you know, what do we know about some of these cell phones that's got the whistleblower built-in app? I mean, that's the day and age we're going into. Oh, what? Hey, you heard what that guy said? You heard what he had to say? Well, let's report him in. That's the kind of day and age we live in. I mean, as David says in Psalm 39, we need to have Yahweh's Spirit. That is the bridle that he's talking about. He had the Spirit within him. He had Yahweh's Spirit within him to, in fact, write such revelations. He had to have. Nevertheless, saints, numbering your days is all about renewing your mind, as I mentioned early on. It is high time for us to clean up our minds from all this ingraining that has happened. All this, a lot of stuff has been put into us. Lot of rebellion, lot of stubbornness, lot of deceit, lot of rising up against authority. All this stuff it's been put in us. It just might be because of bad experience with your father, bad experience with your earthly father, earthly mother, things of that nature. I mean, you know, we bring that into the faith. We bring that unloving, hateful, that type of disdainful attitude into Yahweh's way, and then we become blind. We become blind and we're losing time. That's the biggest thing that I would need to harp on is waking up to ourselves. Waking up to ourselves, as I mentioned in the past. It's not so much the concern, to your right or to the left, but us. Allowing, the other big thing in taking into account the numbering of our days is to allow the washing of the Word to come in. Because I tell you what, washing of the water of this Word is just really powerful. It brings forth such cleansing. It brings forth. You're allowing Yahweh's laws. You're allowing Yahweh's ways to enter in. Your ways out, His ways in. And that's what has to happen in order for a clean slate, in order for a clean start, in order for a new episode to start every time with the Father. Father, here I am. I don't know what to do. I am empty without you. I need more of you in my life. I need your word. I need perspective. I need guidance. I need your counsel. I need your wisdom. I need to become accountable to your people. I need, these are the things that we need to focus on. So, saints, I'm going to leave you with those words. Lastly, I want to help us understand we need to seriously come out of condemnation, because I seriously believe the enemy brings forth condemnation. It brings forth, because we understand that we are programmed to walk carnally. And a lot of us have spent time hearing this, listening to what the Father has to say when it comes to carnality and spirituality. Walking in the Spirit and walking in the carnal. We hear this through and through in the ministry here. So coming out of carnality, coming out of condemnation, and realize your days are coming to a close. And the only way we can realize the importance of numbering our days is to walk by the Spirit. Or else we will go back to the ways of Lot's wife, or we will go back to the ways of Adam's wife, Eve, the decision that she made that caused a man, in fact, to be foolish. There's a verse in the Apocrypha, and this is directed to the sisters, because I don't know if this is a brother segment, but if sisters are listening, this is a good word to chew on. As I was in study, this came to mind. I mean, I know the Proverbs talks about it, but in Ecclesiasticus, it says in I believe chapter 26, it says, "Blessed is the man that has a virtuous wife." What is virtuous? Let's take some time and focus on what is virtuous. Virtuous, this character trait called virtuousness, is a point of understanding. There is no way a woman can become virtuous if there isn't an inventory taken in her own life and come to the point of understanding. It says, "Blessed is the man that hath a virtuous," in other words, strong wife, "for the number of his days shall be double." For the number of his days shall be double. So all those periods of your life where you didn't know the Father, and now you have come to the way, and now you've also been blessed with a virtuous wife, you just completely reproduced the time that is that's been given to you. Now you say you're 30, you just doubled it. That's how much the Father has now blessed you, because He has joined you with a virtuous wife. It says, a virtuous woman rejoices her husband. Right? Rejoices her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. A good wife is a good portion which shall be given in the portion of them that fear Yahweh. And that's the other thing that I was going to say, is that there are certain things that we need to bring to light here as far as numbering the days. And I had written it down. It's very important for us to possess the fear of Yahweh, because if we don't have the fear of Yahweh, obviously we don't have wisdom. And if we don't have wisdom, of course, we are walking in the path of just keeping ourselves cursed. So keep in mind these things, and as men, we need to understand how we need to facilitate a wife, facilitate the woman in our lives to in fact be strong, to become that virtuous woman. So there are many things that we need to take into consideration. So this brother segment, the word was for us to number the days, saints. We need to really take heed the context of our life, where we are, in whose country we live in, all these things. We need to understand. We need to understand who our master is. We have taskmasters in this life, true, but we need to understand who our King of Kings is. We need to understand that we need to become the head. We need to not do evil to our brothers and sisters, but in fact help one another in this race that we're in, because we are called to become vessels of honor in His house. I bless you, saints. I pray that this has in fact brought forth understanding. I pray a fruitful week upon each and every one. I pray Yahshua is glorified as we come together as His body. Bless you. Love you, saints. Shalom.
Uh-oh. Look at